Hello and welcome to episode 344 of the Awesome Comics Podcast, a place where the small press makes one hell of a big noise. I'm Vince Hunt, creator of the Instagram comic Black, and joining me as always is the creator of the webcomic Vanguard, Dan Butcher.
Hello.
And the writer, reviewer, blogger, poster, candlestick maker, butcher, and all kinds of bastards. It's Tony Esmond.
How are you? You're right.
Yes.
Oh, great. Yeah.
That's good. Well, good as we're recording.
Welfare check.
Yeah. All good.
The sun came out today, so you know, with the weather we've been having here in the UK, you don't know where you are, do you? It's cold one moment, it's raining, but the sun came out. It was lovely.
So, almost summer, innit?
No, it isn't. We've got to
when it starts getting earlier in the morning, so it's brighter in the mornings even.
You've got to get through spring yet.
I've started going down the gym early in the morning, like getting in there for 6, and it's fucking brutal going down there at that time of the morning.
Why would you do it?
Just, got to get it done.
I did a run this afternoon. It was an embarrassing, sweaty mess walking back to my house through the village. It was just
lovely. Did you only run one way?
Well, I sort of run around the village and I walk the last bit because it's in front of a lot of people and it's embarrassing, isn't it? You know.
Yes. We make comics, man. Who cares what anyone else thinks?
Yeah.
Apart from you, lovely listeners, we care what you think. And thank you for
not all of you.
Thank you for don't listen to him. Thank you for listening to us this week. And my gosh, what a show we've got for you this week.
Yeah.
See what I did there?
Or what was the quote I said earlier? Gosh, I spent a lot of money there.
Yeah. Either works.
Yeah. We've got another bit of a comic book shop talk this week. We love doing that, and we're finally checking one of the major names off our list.
The big small press one, I'm going to say.
Yeah.
I'm going to hazard that to say that.
Yeah.
It's very focused, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But we did cover other stuff, but it was focused.
Yeah. Get your pencils and pads ready to. There's lots of names and comics to put on there. I mean, there's stuff in the show notes as well. But, if you're old school and you like pencil and pad, do it that way. But, we talked to Greg from Gosh Comics. Greg handles all the small press and indie books there for the past 5 months and doing a stellar...
Very passionate about it as well, which is nice to see.
Doing a stellar job. And it was great fun to talk to. So, that we're not going to waffle on too much. We're going to do all the waffling post-interview like we normally do. But... I guess I was trying to think of a segue. I couldn't think of one.
Do you know where else you can get comics?
Normally I tee it up for myself in some way, but I just couldn't think of it.
Yeah, I thought you were about to forget it because you never normally forget it, and I thought he hasn't teed anything up. What's he doing?
No. Yeah, what was I
Well,
about to
you
forget,
can get
Tony?
physical comics there, but where can you get digital comics, Vince? Does that work?
Do you know, I was about to jokingly say a digital comic shop, but no, I'm not. Of course, we're talking about
we're all in cyberspace.
Lovely sponsor, Comic House.
Yeah,
the indie comic marketplace with a difference. They love indie comics just as much as we do, just as much as Gosh does, just as much as any of you bloody lovely people out there that are listening to this show. That's all about small press and independent comics. If you go to comichouse.com, you see there's a huge selection of titles on their database. Lots of creators have listed their book on there, and you can buy hard copies of the books and you can sell your book. If you have comics yourself, you can start selling straight away. They also have the app, which for £3 a month you get access to an enormous library of digital indie comics, all types of genres. It's amazing. I mean, it's been added to all the time. What's on there at the moment, Dan?
We've got the Macabre Motel, The Misadventures of Adam West, Volume 2, Issue 8, The Voice of the Hall, The Polar Paradox, Issue 1, and I know Issue 2 is on there as well. And we've got Mahoney's Issue 4, Vincent Price Presents Issue 4, Sugar, Life as a Cat, and Steak, Volume 1, Issue 1.
Cool.
Oh, yeah, lots of stuff to get stuck into there. I really want to check out that Steak. That sounds like a great concept, that one.
The Mark Ollivant, the artist, I follow him on Twitter. As soon as he said that he did the art, I was like, fuck me, yeah, I'm on that.
Oh, yeah, I know that one. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I believe the pitch is someone, and it's a restaurant or something that does exclusive dinosaur meat or something like that.
Okay.
So it's,
It reminded me a bit of that 2000 AD cover. Do you know the one with he's got the plate, he's holding the plate and it's the spaghetti creature?
Yes.
It reminded me a bit of that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course, I could be way off, so I'm just going to have to read it for myself. And where do I go? I go to the Comic House app. It's a subscription service, only £3 a month. You get access to that and all the other stuff that's on there at the moment. There's a 14-day free trial. So go to comichouse.com now and start finding out about this amazing world of small press we talk about every week. So there you go. And thank you, as always, to the guys from Comic House for supporting the show.
Yeah, definitely.
And thank you to Greg from Gosh Comics.
Yeah.
Come along.
Hell, there was a big knowledge drop.
Flew past.
Prepare yourselves.
Yeah, God,
Yeah.
So, it's time to talk some comic book shop nonsense. It's not nonsense. It's always joy. But here's enough of just us. Let's talk to someone who actually knows what they're talking about. Here's Greg from Gosh Comics. Right then. This is it's quite an exciting week this week because, as you know, we like to talk comics and comic shops. And it's about, darn it, about time we spoke to someone from Gosh Comics in London. And we are very honoured to be joined by Greg from Gosh. Hello, Greg.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Our pleasure, Greg.
Our pleasure, Greg.
Yeah, Greg regularly empties my wallet, so that's good.
I'm guessing in the shop you don't just mug him on a weekly basis.
Well, they got to make up, minimum wage.
No.
They're not on minimum wage. I made it up. It's really quite badly.
I mug him by picking the best stuff that he wants
Exactly.
to get.
Oh, that's I tell you what, Tony Esmond, he is the mark you want if you're looking for that sort of business.
It was a large amount last week, but there was a few things.
I put up photos on my Instagram of cool stuff that comes in, and then Tony messages me, and I put them aside.
That is true.
It's like
that is true. Yeah,
it's a close friends group, and it's just Tony.
Paying the Gosh mortgage.
Yeah.
But for those of you lovely listeners out there who don't necessarily know about Gosh Comics is now one of the bastions of London in terms of
Thank God for them.
I think so. Especially it's probably the go-to place. It's your local one now, isn't it, Tony? Really,
it is, mate. It's where my pull list is, etc.
Yep.
Tony can scratch 2 itches with that shop location. 80.
Oi.
Oh God,
it's much cleaned up around there, though. I'll tell you now. It's
okay,
much nicer. Yeah. You can still get, you know those tablets you asked me to get. I've still got them for you, Dan.
You spoiled it now. That was Vince's birthday present.
Well, that's not fair. I was nothing to do with that.
Sorry, I had to flip that off.
Yeah, sorry. The tablets for Vince. Sorry.
But Gosh Comics is definitely the indie comic place to be, I think, and just the comic place to be in London anyway. It is a store that I haven't visited yet, and it's a must
really? I didn't
go
realise
to.
that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's one of the ones I haven't been to yet, so I'm thoroughly looking forward to going and this conversation and find out more, because as well as like the comics and just your mainstream, you can get everything from there. But like the store itself does love sort of highlighting sort of like new interesting books rather than the here's your Superman, here's your Spider-Man. There's much more to Gosh, isn't there, Greg?
Yeah, we because we're of our size and location, I guess our size, and we're not huge, but our size in terms of comic shops, it means we get lots of people coming in all the time, which means that we can get kind of we can take gambles on weirder stuff or get imported books from like a lot of small press books from America imported in, and kind of try them out and see what people like and people go for. And so I've been there about 5 months, I think. And so I was like, Gosh was my favorite comic shop before I started working there. And I lived in Birmingham, and there was a couple stores there, but I used to travel down to London and definitely go to Gosh. And then
there's the two main ones in Birmingham are kind of Funko emporiums, aren't they now? Sadly,
There was Nostalgia, which is, I think it's called Worlds Apart now.
Yes,
they're both Forbidden Planet, I think. But Nostalgia used to have an upstairs that had a sale section, and because people didn't go there for weird stuff or kind of indie stuff, you could go there and find amazing things. So Gosh, like we have a small press section, and we get a lot of just imported things really. and like I love getting post working at Gosh. It's like the dream comic post that I wish I could get at home. But
okay, yeah. So let's lay it out for where it is. So it's number 1 Berwick Street, which is for anyone that knows London is basically the heart of what used to be Dirty Soho, but it's sort of cleaned up a lot. Right next to the Berwick Street Market, which is sort of a legendary market in London, and at the top of what is regularly called, as or Dan and I call it, Porn Alley, which is which is mostly cleaned up now. But it's what you've got there is 2 floors. Upstairs, you kind of one of the things I love about it the most is you walk in and on the left you've just got small press and indie, haven't you?
Yes.
DIY stuff. That's been like it's almost been like that since you moved there, I think.
It's been like that the whole time. I think so. I think when I started coming to Gosh, there used to be on the far left upstairs. It was a huge wall of like newspaper strip collections and things. But the small press section used to be a lot smaller. But Tom Oldham, who runs Breakdown, he managed to get it. He proved that it could work to have a lot more space dedicated to it. And now it's grown, and we have. I mean, the small press section is right at the front, and it covers like one big shelving bay, and then half of one where we have all of the Breakdown stuff, and then a section for Glacier Bay. And so we get, if we've got from a publisher in another country, if we get a lot of their books, we can kind of make little sections for them, like Perfectly Acceptable.
Which I know you got Bubbles and Strangers and stuff you get, don't you?
Yeah, but the Stranger section, that was really exciting for me because I'm just a massive fanboy, really. So it's like I just meet weird comics people, and it never gets kind of normal for me. It's like still really exciting. But when I first started there, Eddie from Strangers came over. Yeah. Because he helped out with conferences and things. I think you met him as well, right, Tony?
Yeah, I met him at MCM during the day, and then I think the following day he came to Gosh, and I think didn't Falp go out with you as well or something? You go for or something.
Adam Falp and Jake Macon, I think his name is. He did another book with Strangers called Trenchcoat, which is really, really good.
Yeah, it's really good. I really like that book. Yeah,
like a weird like UK manga thing. It's really cool. But yeah, so we had like a Strangers section, which was really exciting because there was a ton of books that I'd wanted to get, and I could just get them from Gosh. I didn't have to pay like the massive.
Yeah, that's the big problem, isn't it? Because I've actually put Bubbles on my pull list at Gosh, which is, I know it doesn't come in previews or anything like that, but because you have a sort of regular stream of Bubbles coming in, I don't have to pay the 45 quid to get it imported. You know. Yeah,
it's we can do big-ish orders of things, and we can make it make sense. So I had a pull list for Bubbles and Tongues by Anders Nielsen, which were 2 books that I'd love to have got, but it would just be ridiculous shipping one over. We get lots of different cool things. It's good.
We often hear when we had Pat on the show, he talked about the sort of fighting for shelf space with bande dessinée in Parisian comic book shops, and it's a bit like that with small press with you, isn't it? It does, where it used to be the same old book on the same old shelf of small press, in some shops. This one it does sort of switch around very quickly, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, and it's like there's so many books that have come in that I loved and that I want to get in again. But there's just new stuff coming in all the time. People walking off the street to talk to us about things, and people email us, and then I say I've always wanted to get like Nate Garcia, get some of his books here, and we don't have a huge amount of space to stock like excess small press. So we have to kind of we have to be economical with space or careful with space because it can get overwhelming. But we are lucky enough to have like, I don't know, I can't think, like 7 long shelves just for small press. So
I think that's something that a lot of independent creators must also bear in mind when it comes to small press. I know we sort of talk about the shops that don't have any indie or small press presence whatsoever, but there's also like say in a place like Gosh where they're inundated with stuff. There's only so much you can take or accept at that particular moment, because as well, creators it's not like a ordering system like a Diamond or something. Normally it's like a creator will just give you 5 copies of their book and then you may never hear from them again, that kind of thing, isn't it?
Yeah, sometimes you can have something and then you're chasing them for weeks trying to get like payment details so I can like put it on the shelf and that kind of thing.
Right.
Like elusive small press creators. But there's just always new stuff coming in.
It's a place to discover stuff. I mean, one of my recommends is going to be from the shelves, and I reached out to the creator today and asked him about it, and he said it's the only place the book's on sale, and this is quite a big creator. He's had a Fantagraphics book out and everything.
Right.
Oh,
okay.
cool. Okay.
You'll know what it is because I bought it off you the other day. And just in front of me, I've got Junk, which is a book you were telling me about, by Sam Baldwin, which is, I think we described it as Clousian, didn't we? I think was the
yes.
we used. And the other one I've got in front of me is Birth of the Bat, which I've been sending images to the boys of. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's a one.
I mean, yeah, we were aware of that for a while, and we're still coming to terms with it. Dan, is that the best way to put it?
I bleach.
Have you seen Josh Simmons' other Batman stuff?
I have, yes. Yeah.
Is this is it called Twilight of the Bat?
Yeah, I bought one in French at Angoulême actually. At one point.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He's been doing them he's been defacing Batman for a while.
Best Batman book out there. Have you tried Detective?
Oh,
yeah.
I think I've told people that it was my favorite Batman book. But we just that was great. Like, because I love Josh Simmons, and I think that he can be a bit of a hard sell. It's like in Birmingham, I don't think they weren't selling many Josh Simmons books because they're quite like, it's just quite heavy. But so my favorite thing, this is like a little sidebar, but my favorite thing is when someone comes in and says that they want like the grottiest horror stuff that I can show them.
Right.
They're not, and like they usually seem like completely normal people.
Soho for you.
In horror.
You know?
Yeah, I guess so. So Josh Simmons is one of the things I show them. But yeah, so like the Batman book that he's done, it's been great. I think we sold our last one for now today, and that's from it's a French publisher, a small press publisher doing that called Mansion Press.
Oh, they're the people who put out the On book as well.
Yes, absolutely. Andy Barron, that's his name.
That's
isn't
it.
it?
Love Andy stuff. Yeah,
it's great. I bought some of the On books a while ago from him, and he drew a little sketch on like a receipt I think I had. I love it. It's like on my comic shelf. But yeah, so Mansion Press, they're like a French company that started just last year, and they do a lot of Johnny Ryan as well, and a few other things.
Yes, they did Comic Books Are Burning in Hell, whatever that book is, the really fucking crazy one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They did the Comic Book Holocaust.
That's the one I'm thinking of. Yeah, Comic Book Holocaust.
They did some prints and things.
That is crazy.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that one. I think I read out a few pages on the pod once about that one.
Yeah. Well, it's like, if you found the Josh Simmons Batman one, tough going.
Yeah.
Comic Book Holocaust has got some shit. But yeah.
I do love his stuff. Like Prison Pit rather, is just fucking genius. Just utter genius. Yeah.
I think somebody's bringing out a softcover version of Prison Pit. It might be Mansion Press.
Oh, because there was a slipcase one, wasn't it, that came out, or a big hardback one of that, rather?
Yeah, there was like a Fantagraphics did a hardback one, but it went out of print really quickly. Anyway.
Yeah. Sorry. Cool.
So what is the what do you think are the important things for like shops to bear in mind when sort of cultivating like a small press presence? You know, because you want to. I mean, obviously everyone's got their own taste, but you obviously have to cater to so many different people, from someone who's just looking for an all ages independent book to that dark,
to manga as well,
the nasty grot that no one wants to say out loud.
He knows that's me. Everyone knows.
Yeah. But for you, how important is it to like be well read on all kinds of genres and books?
Man, I mean, it's tough. I do read a lot. I've collected comic books for a long time, and I sometimes read quote unquote normal books, like word books sometimes. I don't know. I think there's only so much you can do, and gosh, I'm really lucky that I work with like a bunch of people who all have a huge interest in comics, and also we all read quite different books a lot of the time. So between me, Tom, and Luke, and Camille and Olive, like when we're buying books and things, we just I don't know, we try and branch out as much as we can. And
a shout out to Andrew as well, because I've known him for many years. Yeah.
Andrew and Josh, both the owners of Gosh, and I mean it's weird. Like I was a huge fanboy of Gosh, and now I work with them all. And if I wasn't working there, I'd think them as like, oh, no, I'm not going to say celebrities. I really am a serious fanboy. It's ridiculous. But I was reading over Christmas. I was reading the Nemo standalone stuff from the League, and Josh, who owns Gosh, is like one of the co-publishers, and I didn't realize until I read it, and it was very exciting. But yeah, so all together we just can kind of cover as much as we can. But I think space is a premium thing, and we get a lot of nice little A5 kind of zine book things, but then sometimes we get big. We got a book in today from an American guy called Henry Crane, and it's probably almost A2 in size.
Right.
So we have,
Whoa.
Yeah, it's big. It's nice. But this is the thing. It's like before I worked there, I thought I just wanted everything big, like Atomic Hercules.
Or you mean the big one or the third one?
Yeah, the big black and white one. Like that size, it's like my favorite size comic. But there's only so many of those you can stock when they're that big. Yeah. But another bonus at Gosh is because people know us and know that we can restock small presses. They get in touch. So I get exposed to all sorts of different comics for different people, and I mean that's one of the good things about comics is it's just like and small presses you can get really specific and case really specific people as well. So that's really interesting. Like we do a lot of esoteric zines like Weird Walk and things like that. They're really popular.
You restocked them the other day, I think, didn't you? Weird Walk.
We did, and they sell like I can't keep them stocked sometimes.
Oh wow!
But they're really cool, and they get lots of different people in. But yeah, you just have to do your best. I mean, or like you stock what you know. If you think it's good and you want to talk about it and recommend it to people, and then.
I noticed you had a load of King Cat comics in there as well. You've got a few of those, haven't you? You can go back and buy old issues. Yeah, like King Cat, we used to stock them quite. I think Gosh used to stock them quite a lot. We got the nice big drawn and quarterly versions as well, which are really cool. Yeah, John Porcelino's great. You know, he's sort of just quietly making comics, and they're all like super fun and readable, and yeah.
He's just involved in so much stuff. Like,
because he's got a distro going as well, hasn't he?
Yeah. Oh God, what's the distro called? It's gonna.
Yeah, I can't remember either. Yeah. I was avoiding saying it because I couldn't remember it either. Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah.
He did a book with another.
Is it Spit and a Half? That's not his distro.
I'm gonna slightly look it up.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's involved in all kinds of things. So yeah, I don't know. But stocking small press, I think. Because there are like Traveling Man. I haven't been to any Traveling Man stores, but I'd like to go. And I know Mama Lips, who deals with a lot of their small press stuff. So and they have some as well. So I'd like to go and see.
Not a real name. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah. So
the thing is, I think what one of the things there as well is we had a conversation the other day because I was telling you about my 100 days of manga that I'm doing, and I was saying, "Oh, you into manga?" And the thing is, you said, "Oh, I'm not really." And then every book I said I'd read, you read. And I think you said, "Oh, it's because I'm sort of exposed to it sitting downstairs." Now, when you go into Gosh, for people who don't know this, you go in and upstairs is a big. You got a table full of like graphic novels and hardbacks and stuff like that. You got the small press. You got a kid friendly. You got a Euro section, and this sort of thing. But downstairs is where you get the Wednesday Warriors, the back issues, and the manga. Now, the manga's really taken over because as you walk down the stairs, it used to be sort of piles of whatever the called graphic novel or trade was out that week. And now it's just like 45 copies of,
Jujutsu Kaisen #1.
Chainsaw Man or, that sort of thing, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, So when I started working there in the summer, I'd been warned that manga was a big thing at the moment. And it's crazy. I mean, I think Netflix got a load of manga, like anime like Attack on Titan and things like that. So a huge new group of people were exposed to it. And it's just crazy. And I can't keep up with manga. I mean, because a lot of the time when people come in and are looking for manga, to be honest, it's all sorts of things. There's also like the great manga shortage that began in 2021 but continues, where everything's impossible to get, and so we're not always sure.
It must be difficult for you guys, because if you want to start reading Chainsaw Man, getting the first volume was really difficult for a while.
Yes,
so, like Fist of the North Star went out of print, and all this sort of thing. All that first volume, and if you go into Gosh, you'll easily get 4, 5, 6, and 7, but you've got to wait for the first few volumes to come in. But if you don't buy 4, 5, 6, and 7, they also get out of stock. It's a bit like that, isn't it?
You know? Exactly. I was going to say, like, you sort of people that want to read an entire series. It's like Berserk. Berserk is like my favorite comic of all time, probably.
Cool.
And we have a lot of number one, but if you want to get further, and then there's like the deluxe editions, which I wish we just had tons of. It's kind of like if you want to read a book and all you can find is number 6, it's sort of worth getting. Because
I think you're right.
You might never see it ever again.
Yeah, I've had that same issue trying to get, like, especially after Mimura passed away. Like, it became it was hard to get before then, and afterwards it was like, well, good luck with that.
Oh God, I remember I woke up, I saw that he died, and I remember waiting for the bus and thinking, should I buy all the deluxe ones now? Like, because horrible. And then I thought, there's no way. There's like they'll be gettable forever now, especially because he's died. And no. I have number 2, which has got number 2, which is lovely and big and nice to read, and has some of the worst, most violent things in Berserk. So I've got those. It's heavy on guts as a young boy stuff.
Oh God, yeah, that's really some of that's.
And
really...
I've got it in a deluxe hardback, leather-bound edition. Anyway, So manga.
The Folio Society have put out Berserk. It's a bit like that, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
What are the other sort of manga that are really hitting the the peak at the moment?
Promised Neverland is really big.
Okay.
Which I don't. So I know the titles and I can point people to them and things, but I haven't read many of these.
That's cool.
But
just let us know the titles.
Attack on Titan, 20th Century Boys still does well.
Yeah, that's hard to get the first volume of 20th Century Boys.
Yeah, it's impossible to get. Goodnight Pun Pun, people come in looking for a lot. Fairy Tale. What else we have? Face Out. I mean, I get excited over things that come in called like I Am a Cat Barista. Or there was a book we got one copy of, and it was sealed, and it was called Dick Fight Island.
Oh, I've heard of that. Yeah,
and it was about people that go onto an island and fight each other with their dicks.
Oh yeah, I've heard about this one as well.
Yeah,
that's not a hot one that people are coming in after all the time or anything.
No,
maybe they don't want to say. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, Beast Stars.
Oh, okay.
That's really big.
How's that Kaiju number 8 going? Did that sell out? Or?
Oh yeah, that's
right.
So I haven't had a chance to get one and read it because it sold out like straight away.
Wow.
And I'm a big Kaiju fan.
Cool. And the other one was actually you put one aside for me, but sold out was Bat Kid as well, wasn't it?
Yes, and Bat Kid was an exciting one because it came through Bubbles. It sort of comes into the small press remit. But yeah, it came from Bubbles, who put it together with Ryan Holmberg, who translated it for the first time.
Yeah, that book of his, the translator book, is really interesting, actually. I learned loads from that book. Yeah.
I've not read it yet. It's on my list of shame. But the work that he's doing is pretty great. And Bat Kid was like, it's such a lovely little, nicely bound book. And you get this little, like, baseball card thing
trading
inside
card.
of it.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm a complete sucker for like ephemera, and then Falp is very good with ephemera, right? Like,
well, you got some stickers. I got some to drop off to you. You got some stickers.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, which is going down a storm. That's the thing. I was chatting to Eddie from Strangers about this morning. Actually, funny enough, because he'd seen I wrote something about my sort of 100 Days of Manga, and he'd replied and sent me a picture of his shelf of like just packed full of manga, And I think we are seeing. Maybe more in in US small press, but we're seeing the fact that it's cool to be into manga now. It wasn't quite that before that, was it?
No, like, I mean, I've never been hugely. I remember like renting Bubblegum Crisis. I think
I think that's right.
Yeah, that was the one.
And Plat Labor and things like that. I used to get them from, but only because I had adverts from manga on kind of 80s action films I was getting as well.
Yeah.
But no, it's like huge, and so many people come in. I mean, people dress up in cosplay and walk around in London anyway, and people come into Gosh dressed in cosplay. And it's just, it's huge and cool. I love Berserk. I just love it.
Yeah.
I could talk about Berserk all day, and I do.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites.
And there's still a respect for the sort of history of manga amongst the small press crowd, I think, as well.
Yeah.
You know, we're talking about Mizuki and all these sort of people, Tezuka. You know, and it still seems to be very popular, you know, stuff like Astro Boy and Blackjack.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, you know,
I think like there's a few like idols in small press, or like characters that people use and talk about a lot, and like Nancy's one of them.
Right.
And then, but like Astro Boy and stuff, it's everywhere. And I think we'll probably. I mean, there were kind of independent artists kind of doing Japanese influence things, like heavily Japanese influence things. So there's a guy called, this is one thing, I'm going to butcher so many artists like surnames, because I've never heard them out loud before. But there's a guy called Uno Morales, who does kind of weird kind of Japanese pixel art stuff. And then there is Burliak. Have you guys ever encountered Burliak?
No. Think so.
Okay, he's I think he's Argentinian, I think.
Okay.
He does like manga kind of crying soft boy stuff that's really good. But I mean there has definitely recently been a big look back at manga. I mean, there was the manga exhibition that was in London, right?
Yeah, that was at the British Museum. I think that was a big turning point actually for the acceptance of manga, I think, in the UK as well as, and I think you're right, I didn't realise it, but I think you're definitely right around that Netflix thing. I think that's what's forced the purchases of it. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I remember people reading Naruto and things like that when I was at university, and they just owned shelves and shelves of hundreds of chapters. But yeah, I don't know. I think, I mean, I'm privileged working at Gosh because we have such a wide, like we have so many different things. But I get a lot of people who kind of just they buy a book from every different part of the shop, and they might all be for them, but they're just interested in kind of comics in general and different ways of doing it. So yeah.
Is there anything else that's like really popular at the moment that you know, or stuff that you like that you wanted to mention, dude? Any sort of books that you think are maybe being a little bit ignored even, you know, but worth picking up?
So there's I could do this. So okay, actually,
this is what you said to me today. I said to you, "Have you got some books to mention?" You said, "I will mention books until your eyes glaze over, Tony."
I could do too many really. But so there was a book that I was thinking about today that I don't think we have any copies of Gosh of at the moment, but I don't know why it kind of never got picked up more. But so there's it's a series called Hobtown Mysteries. Has anyone encountered that?
I don't think so. No,
I like the name.
No,
yeah. So it's I think they're both Canadian, and it comes. I think it's Conundrum Press, but it's a guy called Chris Burton and Alexander Forbes, and it's like so the books are made to look like a Famous Five or Secret Seven type book. So I think it could be misconstrued as being for kids, but they're like these really odd, off-kilter, creepy horror books, and they're based around some kids at a boarding school, which I would switch off at immediately normally because I feel like it's kind of done. But it's like, and this is another phrase that's done, but if you like Twin Peaks, then it just has this like, so it also, and yeah, interestingly, it's a black and white book, and the drawing style is extremely manga influenced. Like it's really precise, like neat line work. But it looks like tons of manga, like kind of 80s manga and things you'll recognize, and Akira and stuff like that. But yeah, it's really creepy. I read the first one in one sitting, and it scared me. And I got the next one as soon as I could, and like I waited until it was dark, and then I turned all the lights off and read it with a torch because I was like, I need to. And I don't usually role play. Yes, under the counter. No, I waited for my girlfriend to go to bed. So yeah, Hobtown Mysteries. The first one's called The Mystery of the Missing Men, I think.
Yes, it is. The Case of the Missing Men. I'm just saying.
Case of the Missing Men.
Oh, okay.
I can't recommend them enough because it's.
I'll have a look at that. Is that a UK one? Did you say? Sorry, is it?
No, it's Canadian.
Canadian. Sorry, right? Yeah.
And they're working on the third one, and I just think it's so good. And I'm very, very. I love horror, and I'm very picky. Right. And so to have something that actually scared me, I was quite impressed.
Was it? Speaking of boarding school, was it you I saw was reading Chartwell Manor? That book.
Yeah, I did.
That's a hell of a book, isn't it? Bloody hell!
That is a hell of a book. Have you talked about it on the podcast before?
I haven't. No, although I haven't. I sent a review copy. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's by Glenn Head, he was in Weirdo and things like that, right?
Right. Yeah, that rings a bell. Yeah.
So, and it's a kind of a black and white graphic memoir of his time at a boarding school where he was abused, and then the aftermath. And I read that in one sitting.
Yeah, me too, man. Yeah,
it's. I mean, it's weird to say entertaining, but it's like I was so in it and so interested.
Yeah, me too, man. And it's done in an almost underground style, isn't it? It's a weird, heavy black ink style, isn't it? It's a strange one. Yeah. And
there's like sequences where he takes drugs and it looks like a Crumb comic or something.
Yeah,
he really goes out or like Spain or Kaz or something. Like, yeah, it's great.
Yeah, I really like that. I found it incredibly interesting. Yeah, I'm a boarding school boy, you see. So it was,
Hobtown Mysteries is for you.
Yeah, I need that then. Need that as well. Anything else, man? Anything else that sort of spikes your interest?
Like, honestly, I could keep going.
All right, Vince does the show lists. It's fine.
Okay. You can cut any of these out. But there's a book called Nod Away. So these aren't, I haven't mentioned any small press stuff. There's a book called Nod Away by a guy called Josh Cotter. And that's another serialized book that Fantagraphics are doing. And it's
they're the hotness, man. They really are the place at the moment, aren't they? Yeah.
They and like their lineup for this year is great. Like they've got, and in the next few weeks, there's stuff coming out. Like Antoine Croisset has got a book coming out with them, and Jordan Crane, who I love, has got a book coming out with them.
Yeah. And I think with the Ed Piskor stuff as well, they've really broke something sales wise. I mean, I think wasn't Red Room the biggest selling comic they'd ever produced or something? I think at one point.
Oh, geez, really? Yeah, Red Room was great. I got it on the Patreon because I was too morbidly curious to see just what he was doing with it.
Yeah, it's not for everyone. I enjoyed it.
No.
Yeah.
Like Free Comic Book Day. I was like, we cannot give the Red Room book to people that are not aware of what it's going to be. But yeah, Fantagraphics are great. So they've got stuff coming out. So Nod Away is really good. I'm not going to spend too much time on it because I could do this all day. But it's like a weird sci-fi book, and halfway through the first one, I wasn't sure if I was really in, and then it just kind of flipped, and I became completely obsessed with it. And I read the second one, and like straight afterwards, and it's a huge chunk of a book, and it's like. It's sort of like underground style, black and white, heavy black ink, a lot of detail and like grime and scuffs and things like that. But it's just, I'm just so there for the ride. It's quite oblique and abstract in the way that it kind of ekes out what's really going on. But Josh Cotter did a book called Skyscrapers of the Midwest, which I think was really big.
Right. Yeah,
which I've never read because that's impossible to get.
I've never really. I've heard about it loads. Yeah, I can't remember who talks about it. I've got a feeling 11 O'Clock Comics talked about it a bit. I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then small press wise. So the stuff that we got a book called Loveman, which is by Henry David Kruger and Ben Marcus, and it's like a writer craft book. It's quite chunky and big for the small press section. but it's a collection of this series called Loveman, which is just wholesome and bizarre and kind of sparse. But it's these two guys that do it, and it's really funny. It's sort of, I guess you could describe it as like a romantic comedy, but it's really odd. You had to sort of see it to believe it. We just got loads of Leomi Sadler stuff in, and that's quite exciting. She has a new book called Mr. Birthday Cake that's great.
What's the book by the creator from OK Comics that I know you've stopped? On the cover, it's a woman on her bike. I can't
Anna
remember the name
Reedman.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah, so she's got a collection of comics out that's like her diary comics that she's been doing. Yeah. And that's really great. I don't think we have many of those left. But it's such like a lovely, accomplished comic. Like it's standard, like American comic size.
It is very good standard, isn't it? It looks very slick the way it's put together.
It looks super slick, and it's really nice to read. That's really great. J. Webster Sharp is another one got that does really well. Is doing really well, and kind of really maximalist pointillism horror. But she
that
like
classic genre of horror. Pointillism.
It's like it's just you have to. It's like so detailed and precise, and so graphic and grim. It's really interesting.
We often say this, man, is that the quality of small press has come on so much, even in the 6.5 years we've been doing this show. It's like slick as hell now. But one of the questions I wanted to ask you, now obviously being the resident expert on how to sell small press comics, is do you notice anything that people do wrong? Where I'm thinking of stuff
that's
like
a good one.
Bad covers, overpricing. Is there any sort of themes that you think, well, it's not going to do well on the shelf because of this reason? Anything in particular, or
I can't say like that people would do wrong, but I can say things that make things easier to.
Yeah, please do. Yeah.
So I think that numbering things can make it harder, and I guess maybe there's people like there's an American cartoonist called Audra Strang, and I really want to get her comics over, but they're super serialized, and so it seems unfair to not sell them all together. And things like that. So it's the sort of thing where
a sort of one-off thing goes down better, you think, than
one-off. Even if what you're doing is a series, I would consider naming each one something different, because it makes it. If someone sees like whatever issue number 2, they're probably not going to buy it because they haven't got number 1 and that kind of thing. So I think that's maybe good. Like I don't know. I've never published a small press thing myself. But
Ryan K. Lindsay said something similar. Rather than this is years ago, and his advice was like, doing the 1-2 issues rather than have like a subheading of kind of like
it just kind of closes off people picking up like But then saying that like junk. I mean, I guess that's the thing. Like junk that we had, it's clearly like there's an issue 1 and an issue 2.
Yeah, it says the first issue on the front, doesn't it? Yeah, no,
but we number 2 people. I think the 2 on it because it fits so well on the page that like you don't necessarily realize it's an issue 2.
Okay.
So that's a thing. I think.
What about formats? Any formats that people tend to pick up more likely to pick up than others, or?
I always assumed that it would work that way, but people love going through the boxes of tiny mini comics as well. But I mean, like A5 is probably the best, or like I don't know, it's a good one because you can kind of it's nice to hold
traditional
still.
zine sort of size.
Yeah, exactly. Traditional it's A5 seems to work really well. Big stuff. It's like if there's a really valid reason why it's so big, it can be okay. But like, it's I don't know. Big stuff is a harder sell.
Yeah,
it's better like in a shop if you people are supposed to carry it around with them all day and things like that.
Yeah.
So small stuff's good, but not too small. But you can do really interesting things with really small things as well.
Big comics, big comics are always like the interesting thing because they can look really impressive, like and really nice. And when you pick them up, you're like, but you put them in your backpack. By the time you get them home, there's a higher percentage chance that that's been creased or folded in some way compared to your average, all the other
Yeah.
books. Yeah,
Okay, so that's the thing. Like, I like newspaper comics. They're lovely. Like,
they've become
such a nice
popular
way to
again,
have
haven't
it.
they, recently?
They have, yeah. There's a Simon Hanselmann one called Performance, which is really good and big. And then a few different people do, Johnny Negron has a series called Adapt.
Russell Mark Olsen does one as well, I think, if you know his stuff. Yeah.
It's like they're wonderful things, but I don't know where on earth I'm supposed to store them, because it's like the second you put it down the table, like, you get nicks in it. I could wrap everything I own, but it would be...
You never open it, man. It's like
exactly.
bagging and boarding everything. For those who don't know, if you have a pull list at Gosh, they go, do you want your stuff bagged and boarded? And I always say no, because I'm less likely to pull stuff out. You know, if I've just got a pile of comics, I'm sitting in Starbucks waiting for a mate to turn out. I'm not going to sit there. You look like a right weirdo. I'm bagging it, in front of people.
Yeah.
That's like a pile of comics.
If you make newspaper comics, good on you. Definitely show me them, but it can be like a tough sell sometimes.
One of the big criticism we've had, Greg, we've heard from people, something we ourselves have spoken about probably monthly, is pricing. Do you see people over or underpricing their comics often? And is that something you'll speak to them about?
Yeah, so sometimes, underpricing, I always because I wish I could have everybody's comics all the time, but I really I love being able to kind of reach out to people and say, come and sell your comics here, and things like that. But I wish it's tough. It's tough. There are people that undervalue, underprice their comics, and sometimes I've been like, because we'll only sell kind of small press at their RIP, which is like what the creators are selling them for.
Yeah.
And so
of course,
and so it's tough. It's a tough one. I think if you look at kind of, because I think £4.50 is a kind of a price that some people go for. It's not a standardized thing, but it's definitely like a price that an issue of something can cost. And like that's sort of like a good figure to kind of aim for. But I don't want people to lose money on their work, and like I want my perfect world, my comic utopia, where like there's an audience for everything, and you don't have to kind of give up on your dream and things. I don't know. It's a really tough question, but we get the prices vary wildly. We had I bought this. The most expensive small press thing I bought from Gosh was before I worked there, and it was this. I'm another surname I'm going to butcher, but a guy called Kevin Huizenga.
Oh yeah. The river at night, whatever it was.
Glenn Ganges and stuff like that he does. I bought this. He did this small press comic school, where it was like a bundle of these pamphlets he made for his university classes. And I think I paid like 40 quid for that, because it was an expensive. It was an expensive thing, and it was like. But yeah, so I mean, we don't get stuff like that very often.
Yeah, I'd say I won't name the person as the member of staff, but I will impulse buy stuff, often to maybe to review on the show, or just review or something, or just to enjoy and support the creators. And I picked one up, which was an A4 comic, and I took it to the counter, and the person behind the counter went, "Just asking, have you seen the price of that?" And it was really high. And I went, "Well, thanks for letting me know." And I put it back because I wasn't like totally invested in buying it.
Sure.
I think you have to. I think we also don't underprice yourself, but also, everyone on this show prints their own comics, Greg, and we know how much it costs. So don't go crazy. I think.
Yeah, don't go crazy. I mean, it's like you want to put it at a price where you don't feel bad, like you feel good about it, but you also can attract like people who are going to take a gamble on you.
That's exactly
you want
right.
to be able to kind of track them as well, which I think is another reason why I
think sometimes, but like seriously, it's a bit that
you can always just take a wander in and then take a look at what other people are pricing theirs for and think, how does mine fit? I guess, like you said, some people consider what they're producing as like art in a way, and this is how much it costs. but then other people think more commercially. And
yeah,
for sure. I mean, I'm trying to think of anything. I mean, it's like, but it's like there's the new Taschen Spider-Man book coming out, right?
Yeah.
And there's like I feel like there's like a £500 version.
I know.
Where you get like...
I went into the Taschen shop in LA once, and they have a book in there that was £1,600.
What?
And it was the photographs of David Bailey. And if you wanted to look at it, they supplied you with gloves to
What?
look at it. Yeah.
Wow. I want that of small press. We have like a separate room for it. Like
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Sealed room.
Yeah,
I mean, there's something to be said. Maybe someone should create a small press book that pretends like it's the best thing in the world, and it comes with gloves that you have to.
Like,
there's some small press comics you have to read with gloves, but not for that reason. Yeah,
I mean, like,
bit of shout
so,
to Tribute Press there. Yeah,
Falp's like there's the dealer comic where you get like a little baggie. It's so good.
Right, he finally admitted to me over breakfast. We went for brunch the other day that he actually cut up a Master of Kung Fu comic for that, and I'm not happy with him. Over that one.
Dear.
That makes it better art. If you, like, If you're willing to go to that length.
Have you read Deadlines yet?
No, I haven't. We got Deadlines in yesterday.
Good. Good.
And
I'll be talking about that later in the show. Yeah.
Okay. The cover's wicked.
It's the funniest thing I've read for ages. Yeah.
Cool. That's good. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
And anyone on the horizon who's coming up, you think just let's just who are you most looking forward to from the next book coming out? Anyone you can think of?
Oh man,
you almost feel like messaging them saying, "When's it coming?"
I mean, like Nod Away. I know that it's coming in about 4 years, so I won't message him yet.
I feel that way about Dalston Monsters too. He's been promising that to me for at least 4 years.
Is that? I didn't realise that. Oh, cool. That's exciting.
Yeah.
I mean, the Hobtown Mysteries book, I'm excited for the next one, but that's a cop-out if I say something I've already mentioned.
That's right. Right.
Jordan Crane who did a kind of series of collections of comics he made called Uptight. He's got a book coming out with Fantagraphics. I'm particularly excited for that. And as a shout out to the back issue section of Gosh, I've been looking for 2 issues of Uptight for years. And never found them, and kind of thought I'm never going to see them anywhere. And Gosh had both, and on my first day I got to buy them. So that was good.
Oh, nice! I do buy some great back issues in there.
That's a hell of a good first day, isn't it? That?
Yeah.
It was. I could not believe it.
They got your wages back straight away. That's pretty good. Yeah.
Well, it's ridiculous. Like when new comic day comes, and we unpack all the boxes and stuff that's coming, and it's like, oh, I just want to buy all of this. Like, I can't just put stuff on hold because I want them. I have to kill my darlings and put them on the shelves. But
that's the problem. If I worked in a comic shop, I would spend all my wages every day. Is that still a big day Wednesdays? Is it? Because I know when I come in on a Wednesday, it's much busier. People standing there waiting for people like you and Paul to dig come on, Paul, hurry up, dig the comics. It's like that sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah. It's Wednesday's fun. Like there's people that I see every Wednesday. Like a bunch of people, and like this last week was the most exciting Wednesday that I've had because Saga was back.
Yes.
I've been waiting for it, and I got to read it on Tuesday. I don't know if I can say that. But I read it the day it came in, so I knew. So Wednesday was exciting because everyone that bought Saga, I was just like, it's back.
It was a big deal. Yeah, and apparently I've not read it yet, but apparently it's really good as well. I've heard.
Yeah, I really liked it. Like, I won't say anything because
a lot of
people should go in blind. But there's a really nice letter at the end of it as well, and it's just good. Cool. I was just so happy to have it back. But Wednesday's still a big day, and we get all sorts of stuff from Diamond that's exciting. And it's good. I love unpacking boxes.
Now, at the moment, you're still only open till 6. It used to be 7:30, didn't it? I think pre.
Yeah.
Have you got any changes coming or any signings, or now that the world's beginning to open up? I know you've just put out again about the mask. You're going to ask people to wear masks in there still.
And so that I don't think I can say too much.
Okay, right.
there may be things coming.
Okay.
Coming in the future. You just have to keep your eyes peeled. But yeah, we would like to start doing kind of. So this is the thing. Like I love Gosh for the events and things.
Yeah.
And like I was browsing through previous years, like the year before, like 2019. If you look at like the events that Gosh had, it's just mad. Like the amount of people they had in. Like,
I think it's pre-Thought Bubble and things like that. You used to get loads of people in, just doing stuff as well. So you would get a lot of American guests in there. Yeah.
Yep. And I mean, it's still sometimes people come in and it's like, I'm pretty sure that's whoever. And sometimes it turns out to be them. And it's just crazy to me. But you got to buy your comics from somewhere. But like lots of comic creators. But yeah, I met Gillian Tamaki at Gosh before she was going to Thought Bubble. And like, Michael DeForge and cool. All sorts of people. It's great.
Yeah. No, that's good, man. I like doing that. I like standing in the queue and then you're aware. Was it Buckingham I was standing in the queue behind recently? And he was in there buying a Fantastic Four omnibus. And I'm thinking, I wonder if he's going to be working on that. I wonder whether there's a reason why he's buying that. And then he starts talking to, who's the other owner? Josh, is it? You say, I don't know him very well. He was talking to Josh about having just seen Neil and all this sort of thing. And I'm like trying to listen, Yeah.
I was working in the office, like sorting out mail order. And then a really nice man came in and I looked over and it was Kevin O'Neill and he just sat down next to me. But it was just like, so mental to me. Like Kevin's like, keep your eyes peeled. There may be events.
Good. So that you're possibly going to open a bit longer. Do you think? I know it was a staffing issue for a while. I think Andrew told me.
I think we will probably like as things go along, we're kind of returning to normal operating. Like procedures. So we'll probably be open later. And
speaking of mail order, obviously that has become for every shop, I think across the board, it's been more important than ever before. How have you found the online shopping and mail order for those people who obviously love Gosh, or folks like your good self who live in Birmingham but couldn't make it to Gosh anymore? An online service is a must-have, really. How has that been for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't working there before the pandemic, and I wasn't there. So they did a big move to kind of get the entire shop online, and I know Gosh used to do kind of just the kind of book plate editions and things like that they were doing as mail order, but now like all the small press sections online like all the time, and as it comes in, I put it on the website like straight away, so you can get everything. Part of
that's an extra level of job, though, isn't it? Because I guess you need to make sure that if it's not on the shelves or if you're sold out, you've got to update that.
Yeah, that's great putting small press on there. You don't see that often,
No, it is extra work. So when I started, I was doing all the mail order, and I think like my second week I was there, it was the launch of the Providence collection, and the little wooden robot. And that was a lot of packing. It can take. I totally feel for people running distributions and things because packing things takes time.
I remember when Monsters came. When Monsters came, the Barry Windsor Smith book. I'm like, Christ, that was like a room full of books you had at one point.
Books take up a lot of room, and that's another. Like, I moved to London from Birmingham, and my flat here is tiny, and it cannot cope with me working at Gosh for much longer. But mail order's great, and we ship all over the world. And that's another really cool thing where we'll get. I love seeing what people are buying, and we'll get like an order from America of someone buying like all British small press, and that's just great, like hoovering all up, and like we send out huge parcels of just huge varieties of things. So you can get anything you want from Gosh.
I mean, you are looked at as the place to stock small press. People are keen to stock there. And I think it is, I'm going to say, the best small press shop in the UK, definitely. Is there a similar sort of shop in America and things like that or Canada, you sort of compare stock lists with, or
like, so there's no way that like I compare stock lists with, but there's places that there's tons. America's got so many, like Wig Shop, Web Shop is a great one.
Okay.
There's one that's just, I mean, I could list, so like Quimby's is Quimby's is like small press heaven.
Yeah.
I can't think where that is. That's so bad. Is it Detroit?
You might be right. I can't remember. You hear it talked about all the time on like
it's
Gutter
just
Boys
insane.
And that sort of thing.
Yeah. It's just enormous. And then I mean, Desert Island in New York is like I'd love to go there. I mean, there's lots of shops, and these are shops that either do the Beguiling in Canada as well.
Yes,
that looks incredible.
He's something to do with. Is he something to do with TCAF? Isn't he? Is that right? I have met him.
That would make sense. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I know
he came to LCAF one year and we had a coffee. Yeah.
Okay. There's also Fatbottom in Barcelona, which when I went there like 4 or 5 years ago, and I think he only opened the shop from like 7 p.m. till 11 p.m. It was so good. It was a tiny little space. But so there are places all over the world, and I love watching places open up. Like there's one in Berlin called All the Problems in This World, and it's like a small press / RPG tabletop gaming.
Oh, I didn't know about that. I was in Berlin recently.
There's something about like independent, like sort of comic stores or game stores or things. They come up with the craziest names, don't they?
Yes. Well, when I worked at Notting Hill, we get like secondhand comics in, and I'd see all these stickers for different comic shops from all over the world. But there was one in London called it was like Dark Eyed and Golden something. I completely forgot what it is.
They are, God, I can't remember it either. I'm trying to remember. Dark, they are. Somebody's going to tell me on the Slack. Yeah, that I've got it.
Golden Eyed and Dark.
That one.
Wow, that sounds interesting.
Yeah. Very popular. I used all the sort of big indie Vertigo UK comic names would hang out there and stuff, wouldn't they? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it was the best name that we can't remember. But it was like it's like dark-eyed and golden something.
Yeah. God, now I'm kicking myself. I'll remember it later. But the thing is, as well, is I hope that we're getting back to the head shop thing, because it used to be that the likes of Weirdo and Zap and these sort of guys would be sold in what are called head shops, which there's very few in the UK left, which would sell bongs and cannabis leaf T-shirts and would do tattoos in the back and all this sort of thing. And it used to be a place that you could go and get Fat Freddy's cat and that sort of thing in it. The Fabulous Freak Brothers and the all that stuff. And I think maybe, and I was speaking to Shah from the Wits End podcast the other day, and his comic shop is half comic shop, half tattoo parlor.
Wow.
And I think the thing is, it's almost like we want to get the sort of the small press, which has now got this sort of cool edge to it, into shops like tattoo parlors and bars and record shops and stuff like that now. Just sort of spread our wings a bit,
I'd love that, like coffee shops and things where you could also buy. So there's a place in Margate called Wow and Flutter, and they're an independent comic shop / coffee shop / record shop,
right?
And it's great. And they also sell like little Japanese Godzilla toys and things. It's really it's an interesting thing, because I was worried that when I started working in comic shops, I would see that the things that I was interested in, other people weren't so interested in. Like, I thought that it would be all superhero stuff and not necessarily have a huge kind of interest in other things. But it's nice to see that it's not like that. I think England, the kind of, I don't know if comic literacy is the right word, but it's like America. I think it's easier to sell people weirder things, kind of weirder ideas for what a comic can be, because they're much more used to the idea of comics. Whereas in the UK, I mean, I guess we have Beano, and there's a huge history of big UK comics, but it's not as I mean, it's not like France and Belgium and places like that where everybody.
Can I just interrupt? Dark They Were and Golden Eyed. I had to look it up because it was.
Fuck me.
Yeah, Dark They Were and Golden Eyed. It's a quote from like
It's a Ray Bradbury book, I think. Yeah.
There we go. Yeah. But best name for a shop.
That's great.
Yeah, I suppose when you started working at Gosh, like you said there, it must have been like you were expecting it to be about selling, 600 issues of Batman and.
Yes,
on a Wednesday afternoon to people who could do with a bath, but it's not really like that, is it anymore?
Well, no, I mean, and I'd worked at, I'd always wanted to work in a comic shop, and I started working at Notting Hill Comic Exchange, which is sort of like the computer exchange of the comics world in London.
Yeah, I go there quite a lot, but you can get some tatty stuff in there. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you just get all sorts of weird stuff, but it was also a lot of superhero comics. And people coming in and wanting to just talk about superhero comics, which I found disheartening after a while, because I want to talk about just literally anything else. But that's not to say that I don't like some superhero comics. But yeah, and like gosh, like London, you kind of get all sorts of different people and tourists and people that want to look at different weird comics But like Birmingham, the small press scene, I think it was always very small when I was there. But I don't know what it's like in different cities. But I'm really hoping that
there's a lot of cities. It's quite. I mean, Bristol's a cool place for it. I mean, Glasgow's a cool place. There's a lot of I think there's little pockets of it, aren't there? Yeah.
Like I know, like America has, or North America has places like Toronto where it's just like enormous, with tons of cool stuff. But I mean, all I was going to say was I'm hoping that. When we can, whatever happens with the world, if we can start doing kind of more events and gatherings and reading groups, it'd be great. Yeah.
Because you do like a drawing night, don't you? Is there like a theme?
we have a drink and draw night with Broken Frontier. That is in person sometimes. We used to be in person. But yeah, and I haven't been to any of those yet since I started working at Gosh, but I would like to.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think before the pandemic as well, Gosh had like a reading group that would get together and like a book club thing. So it'd be cool to do something like that again. It's cool being in London and talking to people about comics, because I didn't have comic friends in Birmingham.
Well, it's weird. I mean, I started buying comics from the local newsagent, and actively kept it a secret, until my 40s, because I worked in quite a blokey job, and I would have just had the piss taken out of me constantly.
Yeah,
but it's almost like I actually think we've won now, because one, we've got like all the Marvel movies, and everyone, it's this $1 billion industry, and two, graphic novels and indie comics are now seen as cool by the cool kids. So it's almost like we've won. It took I'm 63 now, but it took a while. But we got there in the end, I think.
Yeah, it is interesting. Like, I mean, the Marvel thing is a crazy thing, but I can't think what I was listening to the other day, but it was people talking about how unlikely they felt the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But I can't imagine. Like, I don't think it ever felt unlikely to me. It's sort of
always a matter of
time
to me. Yeah.
And because I remember reading Iron Man when I was a kid and being like, why don't my friends give a shit about Iron Man?
Yeah.
Like, this guy is cool, and then and no one cared, and then they made the Iron Man movie, and it's like,
they just got like the formula right, and then as soon as the formula's right, it's like, right, here we go.
It was just a lifetime of waiting until, look, these could be amazing if people just treat them right, and as soon as that happens once.
And then in about 2030, they'll have that horse and they'll just be flogging it, won't they? That dead horse.
I am really interested to see how it continues. I mean, so like Moon Knight, the TV show of that, I'm quite excited for. It's a weird
I'm really
character.
impressed with the London accent in that
one. The directors of that are kind of interesting. They've made interesting horror films before this.
Right.
So I'm intrigued to see what they do with it.
What have they made before? You sound like you know what that is.
Oh God, I can't remember now.
They they made a film called Resolution, and then they made which and their most recent one was they made a film called Synchronic recently, which I did not like. But they have this like weird. They have their own kind of cinematic universe in like independent horror. It's really weird. They made a film called The Endless, which is on Netflix, I think.
Oh, I've looked.
Yeah,
that sounds good.
Yeah, The Endless. They've done a lot of like very sort of low budget, because like The Endless looks like it's worth millions and millions, and it was just they're actually in it. They're two of the actors in it, and yeah, very good.
And like, Resolution was their first film, and it's really odd. And if you watch that, then there's stuff in their other films that you'll recognize. Like, I would love if the characters from their films turn up in Moon Knight, but I doubt it, I suppose.
Okay. Spring. They did this film Spring, which is fucking brilliant. Have you seen that? It's like I think that might be on. It was on Netflix for a while. It's a love story, a drama, but one of the people happens to be a hideous monster.
Okay,
and that's all. Okay. I'm only going to say it's
like many of my relationships.
It's a really touching. yeah. Actually, it's very much. It's got that sort of like almost small press indie aesthetic to it. The fact that, like,
it's like a weird. It's like a romance story with a backdrop of like really intense body horror.
Yeah.
Again, like my relationships. Oh, cool. Dear. I've spent the week watching One Punch Man, which I don't really watch anime, and I think this is fucking genius.
Yeah, I've been fucking banging that drum.
Fucking hell.
I've only seen the first episode, but I was telling the guys earlier that I watched the first episode and genuinely made me laugh out loud.
Yeah, it's so mad. It's so mad.
Yeah, which I didn't expect.
The level of sort of the action, which this permeates from the manga, it's just fucking unreal.
I mean, if you think Invincible was nuts, this is 10
Just
times.
a step beyond.
Yeah.
Good.
So for those people who want to find out more about Gosh, or where you guys can be found, or stay tuned for the more interesting, the new things that Gosh are going to be doing over the next 12 months or so.
Yeah, you're not telling us about.
Yeah, all those secret things that we honestly don't know about, folks.
We genuinely don't. He won't tell us.
Where can people find you guys?
So we've got Instagram, just Gosh Comics, and I like posting pictures of small press that come in. So if you want to see that stuff, it's a great place to go. We're on Twitter. We've got a website, which is goshlondon.com, and
it's a good place to get your comics, man. Go on the website if you want. If you're not London based, it is great, and you will ship it out fairly quickly. Actually. Yeah,
and I try and get everything up there, and you can email us. Or you can follow me on Instagram, I guess, if you wanted to.
Yeah.
I'm Grand Pooba Honey on Instagram.
Nice.
I love that I've got the name. I don't like saying it out loud. So you can, and then otherwise just come on in. Just come in and have a look around. And like, if you tell me that you like one thing and then I show you like 20 books, you do not have to buy any of them.
Yeah.
Like, never fit, because I'm having to get used to how many books I should show someone that says they're like Alien or something like that. But just come in. And we're in Soho, and when you're talking about Soho earlier, like my walk to work, I walk past more butt plug adverts than I ever thought I would walk past to get to work. It's great.
That's the good old days when I used to work in Shaftesbury Avenue and just walk past those shops. Jesus.
I remember going there in like the mid 80s, and Jesus Christ, you're lucky you escaped with your life around there. But it's much nicer now, and a lot of nice pubs and restaurants around there as well. I was in a really nice Japanese restaurant around the corner the other day. Yeah, very nice.
Just come see us.
Yes, pop on by. I'm definitely, next time I go to London, I'm definitely going to pop in.
Vince likes to send me pictures of him browsing comics.
I do. I have done that, haven't I?
Yeah.
I think it's good to have a friend that you can do that with.
Yeah, definitely. It's just good to have friends.
It's good. It's nice having friends.
Yeah.
And
you're
comic friends.
You're our comic friend now.
Friends.
Wait till you get. Friends. We'll have we might have a bet. We might have a bet on who sends you the first email. Can you stop my comics? We might have a little bit.
I know that you just want that sick Gosh discount.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see who can be my friend.
There you go. Yeah.
Well, you will always be our friend, Greg, and thank you for joining us this week.
Yeah, man.
That's okay. Thanks for having me.
Oh my gosh, wasn't that brilliant? Oh, sorry, that's enough gosh.
Good.
That's enough gosh puns. But thank you very much to the Gosh guys and Greg for joining us this week. Like I said, it's a shop I'm going to tick off the bucket list.
You're loving
good shop, mate.
Yeah. Well, I don't get a chance to go to London that much, especially with everything over the past couple of years. Anyway,
London.
But the next time that London,
it's
the big
like
smoke.
an assault on the senses when you go in there, honestly, because it's just like there's so much
even that
visual
street,
imagery.
Walking off that street at night is like an assault on the senses, and then you go in there and it's 10 times. You know.
Like, oh Christ,
yeah.
So your bank manager sort of clutches his heart, saying, "Oh, there's a disturbance in the force."
I sent you a picture of my receipt from this week's visit, and like, oh god, I had to hide that one at work.
Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah. God, but yes, the shop is well worth checking out. So, speaking of checking out, do we have any shout-outs this week, gents?
Yes, I got a few.
Then take it away, Tony.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Firstly, Drink and Draw.
Yes.
It's on Friday. Make sure you're there. What time does it start, guys? Is it 7:30? I'm not
7:30.
sure.
I believe so.
7:30. Yeah. Run by this chucklehead Tom Curry. If you wanna get the link, then either come on the Slack, find it on the Facebook group, or just contact one of us, and we will give you the link to come in. Everyone is welcome. Genuinely, it's very friendly. Any new people can be quiet, or they can have a chat, or they can show what they're doing, or they don't have to show what they're doing. Just pop along.
Yeah.
It'll be a laugh. Usually lasts for about 3 hours, so you don't have to come for the whole time. But usually just taking the piss out of each other. But it's not in a horrible way.
You can put your mic on mute and your camera turned off, and you can just
sit there and listen. Some people see it as like listening to an episode, don't they? They just put it on while they're working or stuff. Yeah, it's good like that. Also, sign up for the Anomaly Squad, which is coming to Kickstarter soon. If you sign up on Kickstarter, you'll be notified when it goes live. I did a review recently over at Never On Anything, so go and have a look at that, and you can see some of the art from it. I got to see it, an early version, and it's pretty fun. Yeah, it's worth a look. Speaking of us, we've got a number of things coming from Tribute Press. There's some stickers that have now gone out to patrons. But they will be going for sale on the site, as well as Hank Fur. The test prints have arrived this week, which is our furry comic.
Awesome.
And it goes there. And Falp, it looks great. He's put it together and it looks really good. So both of those things will be going live at neveronanything.bigcartel.com quite soon, so watch out for that. My 100 days of manga hit 41 days today. So almost 40
Fantastic.
days, 40 nights. So I'm reading manga every day. If you get a chance, go and have a look at Never On Anything, where I'm sort of just keeping everyone up to date with stuff I'm reading and recommend once a week. So
can I jump in there with my Never On Anything? You did a fantastic write-up for Vanguard, Tony.
All meant, mate, all truth. Yeah. That it's fucking great, man. I genuinely think it's such an achievement, and it just gets even better and better. And that, I have to say, easily one of my favourite covers in the last few years is that recent one, which I put on the site. It's
nice one,
man. Really good.
Yeah. Oh, cheers, dude. Thank you.
Yeah.
You're always trying to get that kind of like, right, this will catch people's eye and get them interested in what you're...
I think that's a class one. I don't know why nobody's done that before, but you really put it out of the bag there, mate. And the pages look astounding. Yes.
Yeah. Cheers, dude.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Good.
Going on from that, Vanguard 20 issue launch. All the previous pages have gone up, and we're now going to be the proper pages starting this Thursday, Friday. So
nice.
Stay tuned. Shit's going to go down in this, I sure tell you. I know shit goes down in every issue.
Dan, every flipping issue of your comic, something happens. So
that's a good thing. I think I write that you never know. You can never tell who's going to survive, who's going to live, what's going to happen. That's the great thing about Vanguard. I think the unexpected.
I think you should have that in all the fiction, shouldn't you? Like there shouldn't be characters that you think, oh well, they're never going to die because they're. But
I would say this about your work though. It's you could say like, oh yeah, there's series like The Walking Dead or things like that where anyone could go, but I think what I found with your work, there's definitely more tension for me when I'm reading it, as in like. I'm nervous for these characters. It's Especially
you pack it in, man. Unlike The Walking Dead, which takes fucking 45 pages to kill someone, you don't. It's like, it's bang, 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 bang. You know, it really rattles along like that.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Cheers.
Yeah. It's gotten to the point where I don't trust you, and I think some of these characters you're just going to murder them, and I honestly think that that's the way it's going to go.
There's a little insight into your mind, your psyche there, isn't
I think you like the villains more than the heroes, Dan, and it upsets me.
I gotta say, you know that old thing of like writers liking writing the villains because they can do really horrible shit. That is fun. That is really fun.
Yeah.
But I think that's why the anti-hero is so popular now.
Yeah. And go on, Vince.
No, you carry on, Dan.
No, the trick is to make heroes that are not bland and two-dimensional, and they're fun to write too.
One thing, there's lots of tropes. We're talking about. I think we talked about villains recently, didn't we? But going back to that is one thing I'm personally tired of is let's legitimize this villain because of this and this, even though they've had like history of just being absolutely evil psychopaths. But oh no, they lost their favourite bag of crisps when they were young, and now that's why they're evil. It's like I don't care. Sometimes the evils, a villain can be just unforgivable, but if you're going to do that and have the villain do horrible things, then by God damn it, make sure the comeuppance on that villain is good. You know, there's the amount of times that, like, just say you watch an action film and these villains are horrible, and there's just a big explosion and they're gone. There's no satisfying sort of like the slow motion fall from a giant skyscraper. You know,
you like to see someone getting. You like to see them getting tortured, don't you?
Like, always.
Yeah,
always.
Well,
I think sometimes the horrible people get let off lightly. You know what I mean? Considering the way they've treated other people.
What they've done, you want that kind of retribution, the payback of them getting the ending of Cyrus the Virus in Con Air.
Beautiful.
That's like almost becomes parody.
It's absolute parody, and it's amazing.
I'll tell you what, there's a Red Letter Media did one of their reviews, reviews of Total Recall, and thinking about Paul Verhoeven, fucking his villains in his film are horrible. They're absolutely you wouldn't want to be in the same room. Like
that's the point, though, isn't it?
His gang. Yeah, that's the point.
That's the point. Fucking people don't get that anymore.
No,
you know, if you actually come across someone who's a really horrible bastard in real life, there's no redeeming features when that bloke's trying to fucking punch you in the face in the back of a pub.
No, God, no.
You know,
But it's that whole thing. Oh, he had a really hard childhood, though. Yeah.
I don't care.
He's trying to peel my face off.
Yeah. The government aren't really treating people with mental illness properly. Fuck off. He's trying to stab me. You know.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Anyway,
but villains are fucking.
Yeah.
You can access the dark bit of your soul in some way, can't you?
They're allowed to act badly. Villains are allowed to be bad people.
They're allowed to be bad. Yeah. But
if you're writing someone to like literally be bad and people the reader to hate them, it's kind of like fun in that. Fucking how far can I push this?
Yeah, but I think that's why the importance of not retribution, but like their comeuppance is hugely important. You know, because if you're just doing it, you know, just to get sick kicks off this character, just killing off innocent people and main characters in your comic, then you've got to make sure that the payoff is worth it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's otherwise you just get a Cersei Lannister who's awful, and spoilers, it's not a satisfying ending.
I don't know which one she was.
Some
masonry
fools on her.
Yeah, the amazing Lena Headey. Lenny.
I'd probably do her.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Well, they totally fudged that whole ending because they had all these plot points that were set up for them.
Spoilers for Game of Thrones, but everyone
fucked it all up.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that's the classic thing of having like building up these great villains and then just kind of like, they just died.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. Kill your villains, people. Kill your villains and kill them well. And love your heroes.
Did you have a shout out, Dan? Did we miss yours? Sorry.
Yeah, so I've got a couple more shout outs. One for the Kickstarter for the Expanse. They said it couldn't be done, Tony. I presume they were.
but you said that. But you've been saying for weeks now that it can.
They said.
Yeah,
10 independent creators.
This is a lie.
They can, because they've pledged £1,709 of a £400.
It can be done.
So can be done. It's well on the way to being done.
Yeah,
Until you get a comic in hand, it's not.
I've got a new comic out that people said that couldn't be done, called Coronation Street. That's the name I knew.
Sort of a K though, so you won't get done by ITV. So yes, go check that one. We've got My 22 Always Works from Freaktown Comics, published of Mania, The Dark of the Forest, Deadly Burlesque, and Frightening, Fast and Frightening, a comic about roller derby. Proud to announce the latest project, My 22 Always Works, as a noir tinged tribute to Bollywood's 22 panels that always work. Oh man, that's a fucking sentence. Written by Russell Hillman and art by David Bath Gallot, and letters by Sergio Calvet. My 22 Always Works is a tale of love, lust, betrayal across 22 black and white splash pages. It's running through to the 22nd of February, and you can buy a single issue for £3 and a £2 for a digital, which I did do. So I look forward to seeing that.
Lovely.
Go check out that.
Lovely.
Nice.
So from
I fucking stumbled through that. So sorry.
You
about
did
that.
beautifully, Dan. Beautifully.
Yeah.
I believe in you.
Yeah, we do.
no one
Dan,
else
we
does.
believe in you.
Yeah.
They said I couldn't do that.
They said you couldn't do it.
No, they were
Who
wrong.
are they?
Right? They were
Fucking,
wrong.
I hate them. I hate them.
Them. Yeah. But look at him. He's all grown up and he's done it. Well done, Dan.
They said he couldn't grow up either.
Yeah.
It's such an Alan Partridge.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
I
said
made
you
a
can't
coffee.
do it. They
They
said it
said I
can't be
couldn't
done.
do it, but I did it.
Said it couldn't be done. So who are they? Oh, the people in my head. I think he says that in a line. Like,
I would read a comic about the people in Dan Butcher's head. I think that would be a great comic.
God, my God. You've already read Red Room, haven't you? Anyway, right, okay.
Whacked it to Red Room.
Oh, no. But speaking of great comics, you should check. It's time for the recommendations. Tony, you're going to top and tail us again, aren't you?
I've got a very, very quick one because actually this sold out yesterday, this one. So Deadlines by Adam Falp, £4. He sent it to me in an envelope, even though he was meeting me that very day, to Terry Osmond, because he thought that was funny. It came out on Friday night and it sold out. So yeah, I suspect there will be a reprint, and it will be going into a number of shops as well, as Greg has just told us it is currently in Gosh, so it'll be going on the shelf there. So if you're quick enough, you will get it from there. It is. I'll read you I did this on Baboonsville this week, but I'll read you the posting note. It says, "Dear Never on Anything, please find enclosed my new comics publication, all about my inner angst and personal emotions and stuff. You could call it a real coming of age story." That's nice, isn't it? He's such a piss taker. It is a story about Adam, actually, this comic, following his life as a superstar comic creator. It is a little bit of a pseudo-mockumentary, autobiographical kind of thing. I'm going to read you a section of it. So this is what's happened to him in his daily life as a comic creator. You smile back. What a lovely man, you think, and talented and charismatic. The next minute, we're in bed together. But also my drawing table is next to the bed. And while I'm pleasuring you, I'm penciling the most gorgeous establishing shots. We finish, and I slip into an expensive satin dressing gown and politely ask you to leave because I have deadlines. Resentfully, you exit. Will you ever see me again? My restraining order has already been filed. And it's more like that constantly throughout it. It is fucking the best thing he's done. It absolutely made me die. And I think you'll dig it. Deadlines, go to adamfalp.com, Instagram Adam Falp, Twitter Adam Falp. Very consistent. There you go. You can get a copy.
Nice. Dan, what would you like to recommend?
I've got one I've read on Shonen Jump app. Is that what it's called?
Yeah. Shonen, yeah.
It's called Zip Man, which I thought
Okay.
I'll give this a go. It's an interesting concept. I've read the first chapter and I want to see where it goes. It starts with two brothers, Kashiro Tatara and his brother Kaname, and it sort of follows the story of Kaname, who's grown up in the shadow of his brother Kashiro, who essentially is like Steve Jobs on crack. He's an absolute world famous mechanical engineer, invented all this stuff. Everyone knows about him. And the story starts and he's died, and his brother's sort of trying to get over this fact, and he's always kind of like a bit down about it. And when they were both young, they come across this one girl, and basically they were great brothers up until that point. And when this girl came into their life, it was sort of like a love triangle, and the two brothers never really resolved their resentment. And then one day the brother, the Kaname, he's at a TV audition, and this huge giant robot attacks the city as it does, and he gets a text from his dead brother, so like, come outside, like, I've got to show you something. And a van pulls up, and there's like a robot suit that looks a bit like Anubis.
Oh yeah, I know.
And he jumps in it, fights the robot, wins, and then the robot basically says, "I'm your brother. I'm the suit." And then that's the end of the chapter 1. And you think, fucking hell, where's it going to go from here? So I've really enjoyed it. It's a lot of fun. It's more of a comic aimed at a younger reader, not kind of like if you're going to go for My Hero Academia or One Punch Man. It's like, it's not like high concept things, you know what I mean? It's just a fun comic, really. The action sequence, I posted up a double page spread of there's a splash page of like the cover where the main character's like leaping at this huge robot, and they've got like this fisheye lens effect going on as he goes in for this punch, and it's like, fucking hell, that's amazing. I posted up in the Slack group, but I really had a fun read. There's so much stuff on that app. I'm really just loving sort of dipping in and out of stuff. Think, well, that's not for me. Yeah, that's good. And I'm queuing up going through Demon Slayer because my son's absolutely loving that at the moment.
That's great that you can share that app, man. That's really good. Yeah,
it's really handy. He's watching. I've got him the Crunchyroll subscription while the Demon Slayer Series 2 is on.
Oh wow!
And I was like half watching it because every Monday morning before he goes to school, he like watched it. It's like the old days, like seeing your favorite cartoon in the morning before school.
Cool. Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to seeing what happens in this Demon Slayer tomorrow. Because there's the bit when like the good guys are battling the bad guy at the end of the series, and he's hoiked the knife at this geezer's neck, and it's like a centimeter away, and then the episode stopped. I was like, well, if they were going to kill him, if you were going to kill him, it would be at the end. That would happen in the episode. Something's going to happen. So I've been talking to him about that, and it's good, kind of slowly slipping the crack needle of comics. It's about something fun.
If you are going to take crack, please don't inject it. Just smoke it.
No,
it's
just smoke it. Yeah. That's safe.
Yeah.
Sound advice from the ACP there.
Yeah.
And that's mine. Yeah, so Zipman.
Oh,
nice
good stuff, man.
Nice. My one is here's some sort of some pull quotes about the book I've got. Ooh. Beautiful in its simplicity and perfection, just freaking brilliant. Fall in love with this series and let it pull you apart piece by piece. And the most wickedly
Red Room.
The most wickedly cool new comic I've seen in a long while. Dark and inventive and utterly delightful. Those quotes were from Jason Aaron, Kendra Hale from DC Comic News, and Vince B from 11 O'Clock Comics.
Oh, cool.
And this is a book that last week Tony briefly talked about it. It is one that's been on the sort of radar. Didn't really know much about. I think, Tony, you said a brief sort of one-line synopsis of what it was. I ordered it, got it delivered the next day.
Oh, good man.
Read it in one sitting.
Yeah, it's quite a quick read, isn't it?
And I have read both issues of the spin-off series.
Oh, have you read that? You must let me know what that's about.
Yes.
I keep meaning to get
that.
Yeah.
I am talking about the series Stray Dogs.
Ah, yes.
This is the synopsis is it's scary being the new dog. In this suspenseful new series, readers meet Sophie, a dog who can't remember what happened. She doesn't know how she ended up in this house. She doesn't recognise any of these other dogs. She knows something terrible happened, but she just can't recall. Wait, where's her lady? Now Sophie has to figure out where she is, what's happening, and how she's going to survive this. They say there's no such thing as a bad dog, just bad owners. And this is a book by My Little Pony comic artists, actually.
Yeah, I know.
Tony Fleeks.
Well, he's the writer of it, isn't
he's the writer. Yeah. So Tony Fleeks and Trish Forstner. And as the shorthand, it's Lady and the Tramp meets Silence of the Lambs. Because I may go into minor spoilers here, not major spoilers for the story. But just purely to sort of say, as you said, I think last week, Tony, it's a group of dogs in a house, and they come to realise that the person that's in the house is a serial killer.
Yeah.
What do they do about it? And that was what sold me. When you said that, I was like, God, that sounds like just
perfect. It's quite dark.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, you could take that in a light way, but it genuinely goes there.
It's genuinely, this book does so many things so well. That simple pitch is already one of those, that's a genius idea. It's perfection in its simplicity. Because, I mean, who doesn't love those animal stories where you see the human world through the animal's eyes?
This is a big shout for me to read, man, because I can't even watch Marley and Me. And me and my son, we read a book each a week, and then we talk about it at the weekends. And this was our week, but like fucking hell, it hurts to read some pages.
You look at this. I mean, the artwork. Firstly, let's talk about the artwork. Trish's work is phenomenal. She's got an animated Disney-like style in some kind of ways, which immediately gives all of these dogs individuality, individual characters. The facial acting, second to none, which is pretty hard for dogs. Do you know what I mean? To do, if this was like a realistic, painted sort of David Mack kind of style, you wouldn't be able to get it. It wouldn't work. Wouldn't get the emotion. So they're almost sort of cartoonish and caricaturish in a way, these dogs, aren't they?
But that's a counterpoint as well, isn't it? To the material, which works so well as well. Yeah.
And mix that with what happens, the wonderful just framing of scenes, and the way it's cropped, it's edited. I mean, the direction of it, for want of a better word, the director of photography, the way she's done that, and the colours. I mean, the book blew me away. Absolutely blew me away. This is one of my favourite things I've read for a very, very long time. It was one of those. I immediately went to social media and just sort of say, I just said thank you to the creators. Just sort of say, this is. But as Tony says, this isn't for the light-hearted. It's a horror book. It's genuinely a horror book. You look at the cover, which is a wonderfully designed cover, but it's even got that classic 80s Stephen King Cujo font for stray dogs, which then ties into the Stranger Things kind of design that we see these days, and you see the cartoonish nature of it. But this is horrific what happens in this, and it's pretty dark, but by saying that, also not graphic. This is horrific in what, when you say it's not completely graphic. It's not.
There are moments. So there's a skinned dog at one point, isn't there?
But you don't. It's not. There's no sort of blood and stuff. There's not lots of things like that. It's the aftermath of things, and when you see that, fucking heartbreaking. It broke my heart. I was chewing my nails because I purposely. Sometimes when you get a graphic novel, I got the collection of this because it was issues 1 to 5, which you could probably get in your back issue bins or whatever. But if you want, the collection's out now for the main story. And I purposely didn't look through. I didn't flick through it. It was very much put the video in the VCR and just go. Let's see where this takes me. And to do that, Jesus, it took me on a ride. And it also struck me like some of the nice ideas they use, like a dog's short-term memory and things like that. They do like Tony's written some very interesting ideas. I mean, it's truly a collaborative effort. You can tell by the way this book is put together by all the creators. In fact, so I don't miss anything out. I just want to. Who else we got here? Colorist Brad Simpson, layouts Tone Rodriguez. Flatter, Lauren Perry, logo and design, Lauren Herder, and pre-press, Gabriella Downey. Just want to shout out because I think the whole book just works on so many levels. But it works like a true, like those classic serial killer movies. People, because the best horror, when people like take a Texas Chainsaw Massacre, everyone thinks, oh God, it's so gory, it's so horrible. No. There's no blood in it. It's what you think it's the perception of things. And this story works. It does that. There are some shocking moments, and if you're a dog owner, because I actually texted you, Tony, didn't I? I said, have you finished this, because there's some rough bits in it. I genuinely I thought
welfare call.
Yeah. But it works so well because it truly gets you behind these characters, and you see flashbacks to like their earlier life and how they came to be, and it's such a tragic. It's at the end of the day, this is a tragic story as well as being like a horror story, a serial killer story. It's very there's tragedy running through it.
I've never been so concerned.
Yeah.
For a new book of five issues for a cast of humans this way.
Yeah.
As I was for these dogs. That sounds mad, doesn't it? But yeah.
And I think obviously I'm a cat owner. This is something that only works with dogs. For me, this is it's almost like just a perfect bow. I don't think if there were other animals, I don't think it would necessarily work as well because of the nature of ownership, which is also brought into it as well, and the way that they frame it. Like you say, you are sort of nail biting. You know, it is that the moment when the human comes in and out of the house, and very cleverly. You rarely see the human's face.
Yeah, they do it Tom and Jerry on it, don't they? Where you can't see the
you
top
can't
of the
see
human.
them.
Yeah.
And it builds up. It's a one and done story. Which and I'm going to get to the spin-off shortly. It's just it'll just put you through the ringer, but just keep you going. You can't not read it. It's just amazing comics. What they've done here. For me, and I was just stunned by it, Tony.
Now I'm in two minds as to whether I'm going to read the other two, and almost for the reason that I thought the first 5 issues there was so complete and so well done. I was actually concerned they were going to muddy it a little bit by having other issues. So I'm interested to see what you think of those.
I was thinking, because when it finishes, I thought, how do you do a spin-off? How do you?
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about.
How do you continue this? It's not a continuation. And
right.
I would say Stray Dogs, Dog Days 1 and 2, the second issue, there's only 2 issues of them. These are larger issues as well. They're 52 pages.
Oh, okay.
Each of them. They're companion pieces. I think Tony or Trish sort of say it in one of the notes at the back. If you're reading this first, you may be thinking, who on earth are all these dogs?
Right.
Because Dog Days is an anthology series. It's the small stories of all of the cast of dogs in that first series. So, and it does. I
don't know. That still worries me. Does that work though?
It works perfectly.
Right.
It works both of them, because it doesn't. All the short stories, they don't overstay their welcome. They hit a right consistent tone. There's some interesting, like storytelling done in it, because one of the dogs, who's like an over the top, you can tell that like they've been preened and stuff. Their owner was clearly, here's my dog on Instagram. You know, their dog had its own social media account, and it's told through like the person's selfies and stuff like that. And then the last one is, have you seen? You know, sorry everyone, this is such and such's sister. Have you seen them? They've disappeared. That's the last thing. So it's almost like you see the little snapshot of.
I think I know Tony a little bit, having been for a beer with him in New York and stuff, and I know we've got sort of mutual mates, and I think he's often the fourth chair or the extra chair on 11 o'clock. So we as a listener, we've sort of been on a bit of a ride as it's come out and everything, and I think I trust him more than I would most people. I think if it was someone else, I perhaps wouldn't trust him as much to pull it off properly, you know. Because it did sell fucking really well, you know.
Yeah.
And I think what you get in the trade, you get a lot of. They did a lot of variant covers, which are sort of horror pastiches on there, homages, yeah.
And I think there's going to be, I think if there's a larger collection to be had of the original story and the 2 issues of Dog Days in a sort of compendium, in a sort of omnibus. I think that's totally
it's a nice hardback.
And I think with the 2 issues of Dog Days. Like issue 2 it's done. That's it. That's all you need. There's no more. It expands and just adds more layers and if it could, any more emotion to it. Because each chapter of Dog Days starts with it has like a home page, for want of a better word, like a cover sort of thing, and each one is a lost dog. Have you seen this dog? So that's the chapter heading of each of the dogs. One of them in that I think the first story in Dog Days 2, Dog Days Part 2, which is a dog called Henry, who's a big fluffy poodle. That was hugely surprising to me. And because you see a bit more of the serial killer and the stalker. And
what did you do? Did you buy it digitally and read it, or did you buy issues?
I mean, I bought the Stray Dogs just
trade,
online,
but
trade. And today and this weekend, not today, but this weekend, I was like, right, click. I bought them digitally.
Okay.
I just went
I
to
might
it.
try and get the copies. Oh, no, you're right though. It should be one collection. I hope at some point.
Yeah. But I mean, they may have just split it up because it's probably 100 pages by itself.
Yeah, that's true.
These two issues.
I'd like to get that rather than doubling up. Just get another trade.
Yeah. So it's basically all of the dogs that you see in Stray Dogs. That some of them only have a couple of lines, for want of a better word. You see how they came to be, which pulls on your heartstrings even more, or or it leaves you thinking that's interesting, considering what happens in the main story.
Those are the days, weren't they?
Yeah.
Doing a couple of lines.
But Stray Dogs, absolutely. This was. Is he? No.
Legal reasons. That was a joke.
That was a joke.
I mean,
satire.
This is all satire on the show. Apart from these reviews, because you genuinely mean this. But yeah, if you're a fan of the series Stray Dogs, Dog Days is great. Once again, just wonderful storytelling. But
I think the trade was that expensive. I haven't got it in front of me. I can't remember how much it was, but it was sort of reasonable price.
Yeah. It's standard sort of. I think about £11, £12, something like that, £14, which is good. I mean, like you say, it's a quick read, but I'll be going back to these books. I mean, sometimes probably I'll need a deep breath because one of the dogs becomes an absolute hero, and then there's without spoiling it, Tony, there's a double page splash, isn't there, towards the end, which
it breaks me. It just played with my emotions the whole way through.
Yeah.
I told you I can't even watch John Wick because someone told me a dog dies in it.
Yeah. And it's a moment where, because in this story as well, you've got like interesting emotional, you've got the tension and like the cat and mouse game. You've also got, there's betrayal. The dogs don't necessarily like each other. And there's a heroic moment towards the end that just absolutely fucking breaks your heart. But I'm not going to... It sounds like, read this book, it'll break your heart. But read this book because it's just fucking great comics.
It sounds great, yeah.
It's fucking just good comics, and that's what it's all about. So there you go. Stray Dogs, the series, and Dog Days. That's my recommendation this week.
Cool. Shall I do my last one?
Go for it.
Yeah.
So my last one is polar opposites to that. Although it is about a man who looks a bit like a cat. It's Sea Diver, Volume 1, which is episodes 1 to 30 by Nathan Chowdry, who we all enjoyed on the book Crash site recently. It comes from Nathan's Instagram that you should be reading, and I follow, called Stinkstagram. That's the name of his Instagram account. Fuck me, how do you describe it? So it's a book told in chapters. As I said, it's about... This is never explained why he looks like a human cat. It's just not explained. It starts off with him... He is the most dislikable person in comics, pretty much. So it starts off with him going into a shop, a bit like Subway. And he says... the woman says to him, would you like some sauce with your sandwich? And he goes, sauce. What? I just feel like, here we go again with the sandwich questions. Well, this is for you, you fucking robot. I don't give a fuck about sandwiches. And he gives her the finger, but still wants his sandwiches. And he says, I've got a dance for you now, have I? And this nice woman behind the counter's not saying anything. He's just like making this argument up himself. Oh, look at this. Look, I'm dancing now. Look, how's that for a dance, you puppet master? And he goes, how about this for a dance? And he pulls a gun out the back of his trousers and shoots himself in the head. And it's just made this argument up himself. It's just genius. So it continues with him. He didn't die. He just blew one of his own ears off. And he goes out because he's sort of prone to just randomly do stuff. And he goes out and steals this car. He then goes to a golf course and disguises himself as a tree. And there's these people playing golf. One of whom is the detective, and these people playing golf, and one has got a big birthmark on the side of his face. And the man's ball, this man with the birthmark, his ball goes into the trees, and he discovers this man who's dressed like a cat, who looks like a cat, and he's dressed as a tree, and he robs him, and then you think he's killed him, and then he just takes over his life. But like weirdly, he just wanders out and plays golf. Nobody notices that that's a fake birthmark on the side of his face, and he doesn't look anything like this man, and in fact he is a cat. And it just goes on, like randomly fucking mental stuff like that all the way through it. There's a one bit where he goes home and the kids, oh, hello, daddy's home, you know, sort of thing. And he says, isn't it super duper awesome, kids? He says, you know what else is awesome? I just bought us all tickets to Disney World. And the kids are, yay, and they're dancing about. And his wife, who just accepts that he's her husband, says, oh, Dean, you're spoiling them. And he says, get upstairs, baby, I'm going to fuck you in the arse. And it's just like full of just random moments like that. It's just at one point he decides he's a boxer. One point he decides he's going to race camels. And you've read Crash Site, so you know how crazy it gets in that sort of thing. And it's just
gotta get this
page after page of stuff that was making me laugh non-stop. And I think it's self-published. I reached out to Nathan today on Instagram, and he said, no, the only place you can get it is Gosh. He says, just go in there and buy it. I can't actually find a website or anything like that. That's all he said to me was, oh, that's I think the only place you can get it is Gosh at the moment. So it might be the only place. I don't think Nathan is a man who cares that much about, you know, getting it on Amazon and stuff like that. And thank fuck he doesn't, because it's just this sort of nice niche book that I'm really glad I've got now. They have got quite a few in Gosh, so go and get them. And if you can't, reach out to Greg and he'll get you a copy and send it through to you. I don't really want to read loads of it out because I don't want to ruin it because do you know what I mean? It's just full of these just anarchic, crazy moments and just full of just the most dislikable person, and he just acts completely on selfish impulse throughout the whole thing. But yeah, it's brilliant. It's how much was it? It wasn't too expensive. It was only a tenner. It's a graphic novel size book.
I have to get that.
Yeah, so it is good. So Sea Diver Volume 1, Volume 2, I think is coming as well. And if you go to his Instagram, if you don't fancy buying it, you can go to his Instagram, and if you scroll far enough back, I think there's a lot of it on there. There might be some extra stuff in this book. I'm not 100% sure.
Okay. It's the same with Simon Hanselmann. You can read pretty much everything he's done on his Instagram, but I prefer to read it in the book.
Yeah, me too.
It's great. You get people to double dip. They read it, think, oh, I really like that, and then get the book.
Yeah, that old theory we had of, people won't buy it if it's online. No, they do buy it. You know,
they do. Yeah.
We've seen that over and over again over the history of this show, haven't we? People will just go and double dip on it. It's almost like a good advertisement for it, isn't it? Sometimes. Yeah. So there you go. A bit like Black. There you go, Vince.
There you go. Yeah.
Double up on that one, baby cakes. Yeah. Good.
And there you go. Tons of comics to check out. There's a big list, a wish list for you there. And we hope you enjoyed this week's episode. Hugely fun to talk some comic shop goodness and more. And keep it small, press and indie as always. If there's anything you want us to talk about or shout out in a future show, then get in touch with us. You can email us awesomecomicspod@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter @theawesomepod, where you never know when we'll be posting. Where, when, who knows. One day we may even put a poll up.
Never.
Man, we ain't done one of them in ages.
I know, that'd be interesting, wouldn't it? If you do Facebook, go to facebook.com/awesomecomicspodcast. Join the Facebook group Awesome Comics Talk. There's a wonderful community of people on there. And also, there's a wonderful community of people on the Awesome Comics Pod Slack channel. If you want to join
get on the Slack.
Oh, mate, it was great this week. I did like some terrible sketch of someone. And there's a sort of, what have you drawn today? And I because I like to be part of the gang, you know, I'll get FOMO. So I put it on the Slack, and then everyone inked it. And fucking hell, it's still going. This one just arrived just now.
Yeah. Everyone's done like inked it, coloured it, reworked it. It's like,
it's incredible.
Taken a life of its own. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
It's a lovely little community.
Somebody actually mentioned, we should do a sketchbook, you know, put a sketchbook together of some of the art. And I'll make them write on that. I'd be all over that. Yeah.
I bought some cheap comics from Comics and On.
Yeah, because
Carl Starks. We got like a swap shop and a cheap comic shop.
Yeah, and there's a place if you've got a crowdfunder, or there's a process talk, or there's a device. You know, people are always saying, what's the best place? Where's the best place to get, you know, envelopes for my Kickstarter? And, you know, this sort of thing. It's great. Everyone is super nice on there.
And
because I'm on there.
You listen to this are welcome to join.
Yeah, anyone is welcome to join. There's no bar to join in.
Yes. just get in touch with us to find out more details. And thank you for listening to us, whether it was on the website awesomecomics.podbean.com. If you listen to us on Apple Podcasts, subscribe and leave a review. Helps the algorithms, and, algorithm is a dancer. I don't know. There's all kinds of fucking weird stuff. I don't know how it works, but more people will listen to the show, and therefore more people will discover small press shops, small press comics, indie comics, and more, as well as our
small press creators.
Subscribe, and ring the bell.
God, yeah.
Smash that like button. That's what they say.
Yeah. oh, God. If you listen to us on Spotify, Amazon, Stitcher, Podnose, Podknife, or any other networks, what other networks are we on, Tony?
We're on Pod. I've got a problem with you stealing my banana.
Yeah, you want to watch that? Yeah. I mean, how long?
People mug you off.
Yeah.
Banana.
I mean, how long? How green a banana would you eat?
Is this some? Before I say an answer,
no. This is just a general question, because someone in my office the other day tried eating one, and it was like,
I wouldn't eat a green
banana.
A turnip. I think I'd leave it for a bit. Yeah.
I made the mistake a couple of weeks back. I was doing making a fruit smoothie, just dumping all the fruit.
Look at him. What have you become?
They said it would never happen. They said it would never happen.
Did you get any in your soul patch?
The banana was like half green, and I thought, oh, fuck it, just throw it in there, blend it up. And then that afternoon, I was like, my stomach is absolutely killing me, and I couldn't work out what it is. I was like, "Here's the banana." It was just. I love banana.
Dan holding his guts, running across the house. Yeah. It's a banana. It's the banana.
It's poking out.
What do I do?
I knew there was a reason not to eat green bananas, and that's the reason.
Yeah.
It's.
You got your missus going, close the door when you're doing that.
I didn't make it today.
No. Sometimes I can't be bothered. I just go. You know what I mean?
God.
Just go in your pants, change it when you get home. What's the problem?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, you wash your pants, can't you?
Oh, my
Wife can always wash the pants.
Here, darling, stick this snort.
Just so anyone knows, I don't condone anything they're saying right now. I just can't control them.
I'd like to point out I've got a problem with you stealing my banana is a song by Pussy Gillette on Spotify.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, yeah. Do you know what? I'm not going to ask more questions about that. Thank you very much for listening, everyone. Where can people find us online, etc.? Tony?
Patreon.com/Tribute Press. We're about to... There's a notorious comic going up this week from my past involving a certain soap star. And then
next week...
Yes. And then we're going into New Flesh and Ink.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Nice. Dan?
You can find me... I'll fuck this up. You can read Vanguard at vanguardcomic.com. Issue 20 starts this week. And you can also see what I'm doing behind the scenes on Vanguard and Viper, which I'm almost finished on Viper 2. It's almost finished. I've got to start building the campaign, which is the most nerve-wracking thing for me, or the most intimidating.
Are you going to kickstart it, you say?
Yes, going to kickstart
nice.
it. So I think I'm going to kickstart it mid-Feb and end at end of Feb, beginning of March. So it kind of covers.
You're going to do a 2 week, or are you going to do a full month?
2 week.
Oh, nice one. Yeah, that's always good.
Don't want to fuck around with a month. It's too much of a kind of
ball ache.
Yeah. Well, you make your money in the first week and the last week.
Yeah, may as well just take the 2 middle weeks out of it.
Yeah. Fuck 'em.
Word.
So, so that's what I'm going to be doing. Yeah. So come check out the Patreon, or you can find me on Twitter at Vanguard Comic.
There you go.
So do that. And I look forward to interacting with you.
God damn, what the hell was that? And it sounded like he said that and then walked away.
He's off to get a green banana.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. And you can find me on the socials at Testa Diablo. Thank you very much for listening, everyone. We truly appreciate each and every one of you. We hope you're enjoying the comics you're reading and happy and healthy wherever you are, because we all love you, don't we, Dan?
Yeah. Pretty much.
Oh my God, he's got his green banana out and he's jumping around the room with it.
Tony, like black and bruised now from use.
Yeah.
Oh God, Tony, how do you feel about him? How do you feel about our listeners?
My knob's a different colour from the rest of my body. Is that a strange thing, or?
I don't know. But from the photos, there's definitely.
Vince, I feel totally engorged.
Well, there you go, listeners. But
on the hard right on the steering wheel there, taking the show off the road.
I bet you're glad you waited until the last few minutes of this episode, didn't you?
Yeah, it always gets good at the end.
Can I just say one thing?
Yes.
Really?
Friday the 4th of February. Still got the drink and draw, so don't forget that. I know we already mentioned it, but yeah.
Get
And
to
chocolate
it.
orange-
More of this
chocolate-
hilarity then.
Chocolate oranges available from Rawlinson's.
What the fuck is happening? What's happening? Oh God, I'm going to hang up now, folks. So have a brilliant week.
Don't go.
Stop it, both of you. I'm terrified. We record this all in one room, and right now they're both disrobed.
I'm inside you.
I thought my chair was just uncomfortable. Thank you for listening, everyone. Have a great week from Dan, Tony, and myself. Although I really should not let you say goodbye this week after the way you've both been behaving. You got to go
Naughty
to.
boys.
You're going to go to the naughty step. That's where you're going to go.
I like that.
Have a great week. Don't say that. Now, don't make it weird.
Why now?
Weird,
It was weird. Yeah.
Weird from episode 1.
Yeah. Have a great week, everyone. Read loads of comics, make loads of comics, and as always,
Make love.
make love, make love. But while you're doing it, what
Make
should
that
they do,
face.
guys?
Make an angry face. Stay awesome.
Stay awesome.
See, you were playing silly buggers, and you got your timings off, didn't you?
That was what you're talking about. That was exactly right.
Jesus, what
I
time?
said the different internet connections. On my end, it
it's just
sounds
playing
perfect.
with your brain. It's playing games with your mind. That was fine.
Fucking cats.
What? What is he doing?
Bye,
They said it
everyone.
couldn't happen.
I
They
tell
said
you,
it couldn't happen.
I tell you what. I'm just. I'm going to shut this shit down. Bye,
Okay.
bye, everyone.
See ya.
Bye.
Pray for me.